Good morning, Dr. Ray, and welcome back to another episode of Ingredients for a Better Life. How you doing today, good doctor?
All right, Dr. Chef Jay, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good, very good. Thanks for asking. Another beautiful day on God's green earth.
That's
Um,
it.
so, getting back to our previous discussion, kind of about intermittent fasting, there is a new kind of trend happening with these Okinawan centurions and the blue zones we call them, and anyway, it's in Okinawa, Japan is the oldest population. Not only are they reaching the 100-year mark and large percentages of them, but they are thriving in those elder years, and they're not becoming statistics with heart disease and diabetes, and they're also have mental acuity as well. So I know, as you're as part of the Stop and Regrow daily health style, right? Um, it's a lot of this is based on what we put in play every day with our plan. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So a lot of it is diet and exercise based. Food is medicine. So I kind of wanted to jump into these blue zone areas, and what exactly is it in these components of the food. Why is this so effective, like from a medical standpoint, and then we'll get to the food and all that stuff.
Well, you touched on and highlighted all of those key points. And the thing to remember about this select group is on the island less affected by the processed foods that you receive in the developed countries. So these are raw, whole foods. So entire vegetables, not a vegetable medley, but a vegetable, and it might be one vegetable a day. It's a whole fruit, and it's one fruit a day. And if you eat one fruit a day and one vegetable a day and one meat a day and one source of nuts a day and one of this and one of that, you kind of fed yourself throughout the day. So you'd get the caloric intake that the body requires, and then you would get to the not enough calories that would actually lead to any weight gain, and then all the cascade of other ailments that take place when you add in just the extra calories. So the biggest hurdle or stumbling block for the developed countries is the extra calories. Any extra calorie will cause extra free radicals. Every calorie has to be broken down. More free radicals in the system lead to more errors in the DNA. So anytime you restrict calories, and if you look at the data set of the height and weight of this group of individuals, my guess is you'd find that they're in pretty much the right height to weight range. They're lean and mean, as we like to talk about, and that's the kickstart of how they get to 100, and not just getting there, but also you mentioned healthy quality of life, because what's
Yeah.
happening in the developed countries, we are sustaining life time spans, but quality of life has not increased at all and has actually decreased. So you're keeping unhealthy people alive for longer. What could be more of a train wreck for a country or a developing world than that scenario? And that's exactly the scenario that's being painted in the
Yeah.
world today. Thank God Jesus is coming back sooner rather than later.
And I'll put a link to the article here. It's very interesting because there's something they call harahachi bu, which means they don't consume these massive quantities in one sitting either. Um, these people are often working into these old elder years as well. It's not like at 65 they're retiring and giving up and not moving. So this is an anti-aging type of program that inadvertently it's not intended. They didn't set out to it. Like, let's touch on when you moved to LA. You were part of that anti-aging movement when you moved to Los Angeles. If you want to touch on that, because um, you know I see a lot of times with my own family, dementia, Alzheimer's, early onset, people in their 70s because they just sit in front of a TV all day. They don't eat the right choices, the right ingredients, and they're eating large quantities of it. And then the sugar. So, that is a rest. I've seen it is just a disaster that unfolds, and it's preventative. So, back to the anti-aging movement in Los Angeles. How did you get involved with that, and what made you want to do that?
Well, as you mentioned, the anti-aging movement is set around the guidelines or the principles of decreasing the caloric intake because most diseases stem from a chain reaction that starts with a free radical. So decreasing free radicals was always the ultimate goal for the anti-aging specialist. And quite a few concocted formulations were developed, but if you really get to the root of the cause, it's really nutrition based in the developing world where you have 87%, 90% of the population is over consuming. So there is no pill or formula to to scavenge free radicals at a rate that you're creating free radicals, right? It's sort of like
Yep,
in the Ukraine and Russia war. Ukraine can't keep up because they don't have enough artillery shells. So when you run out of shells, it doesn't matter if you've got machines that can shoot, you don't have enough shells. So someone didn't do the thinking of how many shells are we going to need. You
yep,
got enough machines, you just don't have enough shells. So that war is going to end pretty soon because someone didn't do the thinking. So with the free radicals, we do our best to decrease the creation as opposed to just creating better dump trucks, right? So we
yep,
decrease the creation by helping people understand, as you mentioned, the sugar molecule is where a lot of those free radicals come from, not the protein molecules and not those big, nice, high density lipoproteins or the fat molecules.
yep. So I feel I have a certain responsibility to the public because oftentimes these trends hit. Now it's blue zones, and it's people will go and they'll research it somewhat, watch some YouTube videos, and say, okay, I've got a gist of this. It's fresh raw foods. It's 96% plant based. It's protein and fiber. Soybeans they're eating. They're raw melon, seaweed. Okay, what they don't realize is they can't just haphazardly run off with these ingredients without knowing what's going on inside their own biochemistry. And the only way to do that is you can't go to your local doctor. They're not doing it. They're not testing for these biomarkers that you are. If you're running high in soy or if you're running high in estrogen and you're consuming all these blue zone soybeans and everything, you're going to have a hormonal problem potentially. And so you need to go and check out what's happening inside our own systems. And the only way to do that is with your biochemical report card. So that being said, it's just, a lot of people will get a little bit of information and could actually cause more harm than good if it's not implemented the right way. So I'll put a link to the article there, and again, I urge people to get the biochemical report card. It'll change your life because there'll be it's such a broad spectrum of testing. There's going to be one or two things that are probably severely misaligned that are not easy to fix. That they are you can fix them with a committed program and some. There's work on the individual part. It's not just a capsule that's going to save. That's going to do it all. It's a diet change. It's a commitment, but it's something that is the best investment you can do for your life. I find.
You're right, Jay. So, with molecular medicine, the best way to wrap our heads around it is things that are happening to your body that you can see with your eyes occur at a level that your eyes cannot see. So, what you see with your eyes is happening, and it happens at a level that your eyes cannot see. But the blood
Yeah,
work with x rays can see as if your eyes could see what was happening in your body. So if your eyes saw an enzyme with a hole that's missing, your eyes would put a hole on the hole that's missing. So with x-rays today, we take the blood work out of the human and we boil them down to a molecular level, and we look for which molecule is misshaped, which one has a missing tile that we can put a tile on.
Yep.
And to us, it's pretty straightforward, and that's why we have a success rate on 6 continents all over Earth. It starts with understanding how molecules are shaped, the amounts that are optimal for the human being, and our data set on the 6 continents bring all of that forward. So we now have a way to look into a more optimal, healthy future based on optimal ranges of all of the molecules inside our body, starting with the nutritional components that the patients themselves are responsible for, and then the
Yep.
genetic components that the mom and dad's DNA or the recipes will create with those nutrients that the patient consumed. And between those two, it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot of different steps, but it is an algorithm, and it's a multi-step system that you can break down and understand. And I think the biggest takeaway for the patients is a real understanding of how the human body works, and more importantly, how to best work with the human body, because we are a spiritual force inside a human body for a temporary time. The human vessel will disappear, but the soul will continue.
Yeah. So, hair loss is a cosmetic indication of an unbalanced biochemistry. Something is like a red flag. Hey, we're not happy inside here. And what nowadays with precision medicine, compounding pharmacies, the work you're doing, we're not stuck with what mom or dad or Uncle Joe gave us, but we are responsible for the ingredients that we choose to put in. So that's where your program is such a revolutionary savior, because you will teach the people, what ingredients, how they affect, the body, how, the importance of staying off of those processed foods and, refined sugars and things. I looked the other day, if you look at these cooking sprays that people use nowadays, most people are using aerosol or there are butane elements inside a lot of those cooking sprays. Like people don't really investigate the ingredients that they're putting in, and they say, "Oh well, my uncle had hair loss, his uncle has hair loss, I have hair loss." Absolutely not true anymore. If you find out the cause, whether it is one or two of those enzymes that are, presenting, or whether it is a horrific diet that you're ingesting, it is possible to not become the statistic and to break the cycle. I mean, there are families when they have the first person that ever went to college out of generations that break a cycle, and it's the same thing we're doing here with your program. So I again urge people to go stopandregrow.com, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. It's so easy to book that blood test, and it's around the corner in any, how many cities in the States? I mean, hundreds and hundreds of lab force. You just go in, they send you the results electronically. Week to 10 days, you have a playbook of how to, start over, get a handle on how you're going to move into your older years, and whether you're going to be, on diabetes, you're going to be a diabetic statistic, or heart disease. You want to be spending time in the intensive care unit. And also, these things will financially cripple you as well. So it's super important to check in and do diagnostics on ourselves. Forget the cars and the flashy shoes and all this keeping up and consuming. Check in with your own. You only get one. The Lord only gives you one of these bodies to carry around, and you have to take care of it, doctor. So thank you for your work, your commitment, what you do for people, helping them all around the world. And we say hair loss, hair regrowth in the program and stuff. It's a nice benefit. I say, having great hair is, yes, awesome. I no more of like little patchy spots, and it's great having thick, healthy hair. But it's just a sign of a balanced biochemistry. That's what it is. And you have to identify, again, I'm just trying to hit this home with people because all these trends, and next week it'll be another trend, and people get a little information, which is dangerous, and they don't really get the point that you need to check in what's going on inside your body, get the blood test, get the biochemical report card, and that's it. I can't say any more about it, Doctor. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining me on my podcast, Ingredients for a Better Life, and I look forward to next week's trend that we uncover. But basically, we'll go back down to what's happening inside, and the only way to do it again is that biochemical report card blood test. So, thank you, Doctor, for joining me, and we'll see you next week.
You got it, great, Chef Jay. Thank you for having me. Great to see you.
All right, all right. God bless. Take care, Doctor.